Hi everyone. Today we'll be discussing about Biosphere Reserve, National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary. So first let us know the difference between these three. See, when it comes to Biosphere Reserve, it protects plants, animals and it also concentrates on tribal development. When it comes to National Park, it protects flora, fauna, that is plants, animals and some historical objects like monuments, all those. In Wildlife Sanctuary, there is a protection of only wildlife. And this Biosphere Reserve is managed by government. Even in National Park, it is managed by government. In Wildlife Sanctuary, it can be managed by private people and by the government. In Biosphere Reserve, the boundaries are fixed. Even in the National Park, the boundaries are fixed. But in Wildlife Sanctuary, the boundaries are not fixed, so animals can move around freely. So when it comes to Biosphere Reserve, it is divided into three. One is core zone, buffer zone and transition zone. In core zone, only researchers are allowed. In buffer zone, researchers, training and tourism are allowed. In transition zone, the tribal peoples are protected. They can cultivate and they can manage the affairs here. So when it comes to National Park, humans are not allowed and they are strictly prohibited on grazing, hunting and cultivation. So the National Park is protected under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So when it comes to Wildlife Sanctuary, here the humans are allowed only for grazing and cultivation and not for hunting. Even tourism is permitted and this Wildlife Sanctuary is protected under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So today we'll discuss in detail about the Biosphere Reserve which is there in India. So when it comes to Biosphere Reserve, it is a multi-purpose protected area because it protects plants, animals and tribal people. So there is no such parliamentary law which protects them, but it is mentioned under UNESCO Man and Biosphere Program of 1972. So in Biosphere Reserve you can see some national parks, wildlife sanctuary and protected area within them. So that is why you can see some Biosphere Reserve is named, have the similar name of a national park. So why is that? Because that national park exists within that Biosphere Reserve. So there are 18 Biosphere Reserve in India. So let us discuss them. So the first Biosphere Reserve status was given to Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, which is in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. It is a trans-boundary biosphere reserve which was established in 1989 and it is also UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it is famous for Nilgiri tar and lion-tailed macaque. You can see here. So the national parks like Nagarhole, Bandipur which is in Karnataka, Silent Valley which is in Kerala, you can see within this Biosphere Reserve. So next is wildlife sanctuaries like Wayanad and Satyamangalam which comes under this Biosphere Reserve. So next is Naukrek Biosphere Reserve which is in Meghalaya. So it was second Biosphere Reserve and it's a home for Naukrek National Park. You can see the animals like red panda, stumped-tailed macaque, pig-tailed macaque and huluk gibbons. So next is Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve which was established in 1988. It's also UNESCO World Heritage Site and it is an important religious site. So next is Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve which is in Andaman and Nicobar, which was established in 1989. It's a protected area for saltwater crocodile, giant leatherback sea turtles and the tribal populations like Nicobaris and Champins are protected within this Biosphere Reserve. So next comes Manas Biosphere Reserve which is in Assam. So it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and it is a home for Manas National Park. So see, this national park is named with this Biosphere Reserve. So next it is a protected area for Assam roof turtles and golden langur. So next is Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve which is in Tamil Nadu. So it is very rich in marine life. So it protects the species like decoy, shark and dolphins. So you can see here decoy, that is sea cow. So next is Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, which is in West Bengal, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So there is the existence of Sundarban National Park, which is within this Biosphere Reserve, and it's a Ramsar site too. So it protects the species like Royal Bengal tiger and saltwater crocodile. So next is Simplipal Biosphere Reserve, which is in Odisha. It was established in 1994, and this Biosphere Reserve consists of Simplipal National Park and Simplipal Tiger Reserve, and it is a home for Indian bison, Royal Bengal tiger and wild elephants. Dibrue-Shikhawa Biosphere Reserve, which is in Assam. So there is a national park with the same name, Dibrue-Shikhawa National Park in Assam. So it is a protected area for golden langur and the wood duck, and you can see the Royal Bengal tiger too. So next is Dihang and Dibang Biosphere Reserve, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. It was established in 1988. So you can see the national parks like Morling National Park, Dihang Wildlife Sanctuary, so which exists within this Biosphere Reserve, and it's a protected area for musk deer and red panda. So next is Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve, which is in Madhya Pradesh. So Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve is a home for flying squirrels. So next comes Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve, which is in Sikkim. So it was established in 2000, and it's also UNESCO World Heritage Site. It protects the tribal population like Lepcha tribe, and it's a home for musk deer, snow leopards and Tibetan wild ass. So next is Agasthyamalai Biosphere Reserve, which is in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site too. So you can see 2000 type of medicinal plant within this Biosphere Reserve, and it's a home for Kannikaran tribe. So next is Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere Reserve, which is in between Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. It was established in 2005. So you can see the threatened species like four-horned antelope. You can see here. Next is Kanch Biosphere Reserve, which is in Gujarat, and this status was given in 2008. So it protects the important habitat like Indian wild ass. So next is Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve, which is in Himachal Pradesh. It was established in 2009. So you can see Pin Valley National Park within this Biosphere Reserve and rare snow leopards. So next is Sheshachalam Hill Biosphere Reserve, which is in Andhra Pradesh, and it was established in 2010. You can see the globally threatened yellow-throat bulbul. You can see here. So you can see this bird within this Biosphere Reserve. So next is Panna Biosphere Reserve, which is in Madhya Pradesh, and it is a home for Panna National Park and Cane Gharial Wildlife Sanctuary, so which comes under this Biosphere Reserve, and it is a home for Royal Bengal tiger, leopards and sambar. So this is about the Biosphere Reserve. We'll discuss once again. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve between Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Agasthyamalai between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu. Great Nicobar in Andaman and Nicobar. Sheshachalam in Andhra Pradesh. Simplipal, Odisha. Sundarban, West Bengal. Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere Reserve, which is in between Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Pachmarhi and Panna Biosphere Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. Nanda Devi, Uttarakhand. Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve, which is in Himachal Pradesh. Kanchenjunga in Sikkim. Nokrek in Meghalaya. Manas in Assam. Dibrue-Shikhawa in Assam. Dihang and Dibang, which is in Arunachal Pradesh.